Welcome to the Rivals Podcast. I'm your host, Merelise Wilson, and today I have Katherine Mason Beasley with me.
Hi, guys.
I'm so happy you're here. Katherine is a mom, an entrepreneur, founder and owner of Sculpthouse in Atlanta and Dallas, and I'm just so excited to talk to you today and hear your birth stories.
I'm excited to talk to you guys.
I feel like we need to tell the story of how we met.
I think so too.
It's really cute and funny. I was on a flight to New York for my day job, and we were sitting next to each other, and I got up to go to the bathroom. As I was walking back, like, you had to get up to let me back in. And I was like, she looks so familiar. And I was just like, I don't know, I'm getting good vibes from her. I'm going to say something. And I was like, you look so familiar to me. And then you were like, well, I live in Atlanta. And we started chatting. And then it turns out we have like all these mutual friends. And I ran into you at a little kid birthday party a few months later.
It's the coolest story. I love it.
I
We
know.
were meant to become friends.
I love it. I know. I'm so glad that we are.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm really excited to talk about your births of your two girls today. And then you're going to have a third birth to talk about soon.
Yes. Little surprise baby that we're so excited about.
Yes. So should we start with your first girl?
Yeah, let's do it.
So what was pregnancy like for you with your first?
Yes. So my oldest, Sloan, is 3.5. She was born in August of 2022. I had just come out of, the pandemic, owning a fitness business. It was a really crazy time. I knew that I wanted to have kids, and, my husband and I talked about it often, but just didn't ever feel like the exact right time being a business owner, going through that process. Had to close some locations, and the stress of that 2 years was just immense.
I can imagine.
And I had just a lot to kind of sort through with all of that. And then it just seemed like, okay, let's try this. And I did get pregnant right away, which was such a blessing. And I'm so glad that I did, because I needed to just be pushed off the cliff and, nosedive into pregnancy and motherhood. I was very nervous about becoming a mother, children, all the things.
Yeah.
I'm not really the girl who always thought about her wedding and babies and was really, really into little kids or anything. That just was not me. So thinking about becoming a mom was a lot for me. And once I did become pregnant, I didn't really want to know a lot other than what was happening in my body during pregnancy. So I very much tracked the weeks and what was happening, because I'm very in tune with my body. I actually knew that I was pregnant very early on. I actually woke up from a dream that told me that I was pregnant.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Wait, tell me more. What was the dream?
I knew that I was pregnant. I don't even really know. I just woke up and my body told me to go take a pregnancy test. And I was only
so cool.
3 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
So I actually went on I think it was, what was it called? I actually went on Postmates and ordered 4 pregnancy tests delivered to my front door and took them, and could not believe the results.
Oh my God.
And my husband sort of couldn't really believe either.
Yeah.
So I had an amazing pregnancy. It was really pretty smooth for the most part, although I was a very anxious person just because I, had heard stories of how hard birth was, how hard pregnancy was. I had a few people lose pregnancies around the same time that I was early on in my pregnancy. So it was scary for me. And I think I just was very cautious, especially through that 20-week scan.
Yeah.
But I really had a great pregnancy overall.
Did you stay active? I mean, for those that don't know, fitness is her job, it's her career. And so I assume you stayed active through most of your pregnancy?
I did. Yeah. I did not really work out during my first trimester out of fear.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got to a place where I felt less nervous. I
Mhm.
did really dive in. I was actively learning about prenatal fitness, postnatal fitness, and for the first time dove into that world.
Yeah, did it evolve your business at all?
It really did
Yeah.
actually, especially during my first pregnancy and then into my second
Mm.
pregnancy. So I think that that gave me a perspective of the mental stress and anxiety that goes on in a woman's body during that
Mhm.
time and how important feeling normal is,
Mhm.
and how, for me, that release of working out and being in my normal environment, feeling like myself, even when my body is evolving so much,
Yeah.
and feeling like, okay, well, at least I'm doing something that gives me that, high, if you will.
Mhm.
And getting that sweat in has always been a release for me and a
Yeah.
therapy for me. So I took a pre and postnatal course in Legree during
Mhm.
that time. Legree is the method that we teach, one of
Mhm.
the pieces of our method. And that was a really great sort of first step for me in this progress of Catherine before babies versus during pregnancy and then postpartum and who I am today. I've changed
Yeah.
a lot as a person.
Yeah.
And I even think my business has changed a lot because of what I've gone through
Mhm.
and I understand now.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I love that. And, like you mentioned that are really in tune with your body. And I feel like that's such an important part of labor and delivery too, is like
Oh
that
my
mind body
gosh.
connection.
It is. And
So,
being an advocate for yourself
mhm.
and all the things. But yeah, I had a relatively smooth pregnancy. I was telling you earlier how
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a weird thing. I've had sort of an interesting thing happen which with each pregnancy. And I think that's what's important, to know is that every pregnancy can be so different.
Yes.
You can have a different um conception situation, you
Mhm.
can have a different pregnancy situation and a different birth experience.
Yeah.
And with my first, I actually did not really have pregnancy symptoms, which
Mhm.
was amazing I could pretty much be like myself and do all the things
Go
and
about
work
your
out,
life.
go
Yeah.
about every day. And but the one thing was I actually had this dermatology situation where I had this little hair follicle that turned into a cyst. And it was so weird and random. And I'm not like a hairy person.
No, she's
So
not.
it's just like, what even happened? But it was the hormones and
Yeah.
whatever was going on in my body. And I had to end up having this little surgery on it. And unfortunately, it was on my baby bump,
So
like right
crazy.
below my belly button. And that was an insane thing to experience at first started at 16 weeks and it progressed to around 20,
Mhm.
and had to have this surgery on my baby bump. And, they removed about the size of a golf ball from the tissue
That is
on my
wild.
stomach. And I was awake during the procedure, but just a crazy little fluke thing. And that's just kind of what happens during pregnancy. You hear all
That's
these
true.
stories of, these jokes around, oh, yeah, that's just a normal part of pregnancy.
Right? It's like your arm is falling off. That's just a normal part of pregnancy. Yes.
Exactly.
I know, but a golf ball size is no joke.
It was not a
That
joke
is
at all.
crazy. And how
Yes.
many weeks along were you when you had it
I think it
removed?
was around 20. So
Wow.
there was definitely, a big belly
Oh my
and
gosh.
stitches, and the stitches had to be resewn because my stomach was growing.
Oh, geez.
And it was not fun,
No
but it
kidding.
just made me really appreciate, okay, this is hard to go through. It really hurts.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but also people have like way worse things happen during pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I've had a really comfortable pregnancy for the most part,
Right.
otherwise. And I'm just grateful that I'm going through this process and that it's going well and the baby is healthy and safe. And even though pregnancy scares the hell out of me, it was a good reminder of just the reality of what I was doing, what my body was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you could see the silver lining in it.
I think you have to.
Yes, that is so true.
Yeah.
So true. So that was kind of the only hiccup.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
was. I even worked out the same day that my daughter was born. Well, it
Yeah.
was, 12 hours later or whatever it was,
How many
that
weeks were you at that point?
I was 39 weeks exactly.
Okay.
And I was just like, I want to have her on August 11th. I saw the number 1111
Mm.
all the time
Mhm.
during my pregnancy, as well as ladybugs.
Oh, lovely. Yes.
And it was like my little signal that everything was okay
Yeah.
and just think positively.
Oh.
And my doctor was actually working on August 11th, and she just became an advocate for me and a close friend
Oh.
during the anxious moments of worry and all the things. And I just really wanted to feel safe with my
Yeah.
doctor if I could. So I went into Sculpthouse that day. And at this point in my pregnancy, I was not running on the treadmill and I was modifying a lot on the megaformer.
Yeah.
And I learned how to do those modifications.
Yeah.
And now that's a part of our
That's
programming, and
awesome.
every instructor goes through a pre and postnatal
That's
part of
so
their
great.
training. And it's something that we have kind of become known for, which I'm very proud of.
Yes.
But this day, I threw all of that out and I was like, this little baby is coming today and I cannot wait to meet her. So
Oh.
I sprinted on the treadmill. I
I'm so impressed, by the way.
I lifted very heavy and I just gave it everything that I had. It was almost my way of just trying to control the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about, losing control after having the baby and
Yes.
then having another baby, etc.
Yes. Being a parent is a good exercise in not having
Yes, I
control.
had to learn that, and I did not know much about that
Yes.
before. And so I took the 12 p.m. class at lunch, and at 12 a.m. about is when I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night
Yeah.
and I had bloody show, but I actually did not know what that was because I once again am the girl that, didn't want to know anything and wanted to just dive off the cliff and figure it out as I go, and did not read, did not know about what that was. And so I was worried that something was wrong with the baby.
Yeah. I could see
And
how you would think that.
and it was a lot in the
Yeah.
toilet and it was
Yeah.
scary. And so and I was halfway asleep because I just went
Mhm.
to go to the bathroom. I
Right.
wasn't feeling anything.
Had you had any other signs or symptoms of, like,
Not
labor?
really.
Mm-mm.
Not really. So we went straight to the hospital. They checked us in. I got checked. I was dilated, but I had also been dilated for a few days, just a
Yeah.
few centimeters.
Mhm.
And they actually were going to send me home. I was having contractions, but I didn't feel them.
They could just see them on, like, the
They could just
monitor.
see them on the
Yeah.
monitor. And I have a pretty high pain tolerance. So, maybe I was feeling them, but I also had adrenaline going because I
Right.
was scared. So I just asked them if I could go use the restroom really fast before we pack everything up and leave. And as I stood up, my water just went everywhere.
Just like a big balloon popping.
Like you see on the movies.
That's so funny because I always say, like, for everyone out there, just so you know, your water breaking might not be what you see in the movies, but yours
This one
was.
was. And I actually, now that I'm talking about this, had more amniotic fluid than normal
Oh,
in
really?
this pregnancy.
Did you know that before?
I did.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a dangerous amount. It was right up to where they're like, that's like a little much. It was completely fine,
Yeah.
but I did have a really big belly and
Yeah.
pretty small baby.
Yeah.
So we definitely saw the
You're
amniotic
like,
fluid.
there's the proof.
Yes. So we were all kind of like laughing and I was
Yeah.
like, well, I guess I'm not leaving now.
Yes.
And they
Like,
said,
can we check in?
you are not leaving now. And I was so glad not to
Yeah.
leave because I was just trying to get this
I
baby
know. And then
to
once you've
go.
gone and checked into the hospital, like, you don't want to go home. It's like so anticlimactic.
It
Like,
totally is.
yeah.
Yeah. I was bought in all day long for
Yes.
this to
You
happen.
you made it happen.
Yes. And so the amazing thing is, they got me in the room. my doctor was coming into her shift, within the next like hour or so. And I was pretty comfortable at this point. I did feel contractions, and then things went really fast.
Yeah.
And it was in 2022. So the hospital I was at, Piedmont, still had COVID protocol.
Mm.
And I had to take a COVID test. And they said, this could take an hour or so to get the results back. Well, between the time of having the test done and getting the results, I went from 0 to
Oh
100.
my gosh.
And I felt crazy contractions. It was very, very uncomfortable. And it was getting to the point where I was almost going to miss my window for having an epidural. And I really wanted an epidural.
Yeah.
My mom had grown up telling me the horror stories of having all of her children, which I don't recommend probably, painting that story for your children. It did not really make this, it probably contributed to some of my
I was
anxiety.
gonna say, no wonder you were nervous.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I heard all about all the things.
Yeah.
And so I wanted the epidural to just give me some peace of mind.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, because of this stupid COVID test, I had to wait for them to get the results, and the guy that was going to do the epidural was standing outside the door. He couldn't come in until I had passed my COVID test, which it's like even if I'd had COVID, like the baby's coming out. So
Right.
I'm not really sure.
And what are they gonna do? Not give you an epidural because you have COVID? That's not a thing. Like,
Exactly.
that's so crazy to
Yes, and
me.
I was just begging them. I was
Of
feeling like I
course.
was going to like throw up. I
Yeah.
was shaking profusely.
You were probably going through transition, which is the hardest part of labor where you go from, like, 8 to 9
Oh, I
centimeters.
was.
Yeah.
Yes. And so
You made it through the hardest part.
I
You could have just
did. I
gone
could have
away.
probably just kept
You
going.
could have.
So I felt everything. And then they finally gave me the epidural, and they cut me almost so numb that it wasn't maybe the best thing in the
Mm.
world. But
Like, you couldn't move any.
no.
Yeah.
And now that I've had more children, I know
Mhm.
what having a little bit of feeling versus really not having any feeling
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah.
But that was okay because I was in a lot of pain, and in the moment I had no idea what was going on,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't read anything. So I really didn't know what was going on. And so I got the epidural. They told us to rest,
Uh-huh.
and they came in to check me, and the girl was, I think, shadowing. So she had not really experienced much of this before. Like,
Yeah.
she was very new. And the baby's head was coming out.
Oh my god.
And she didn't know that that's what was happening. So she called the other girl in, and I could tell that people were panicked.
Yeah.
And it was actually a full moon, and we were hearing a lot of sirens and noises
Mhm.
going on. And apparently, someone had a crazy situation going on in the other room. And
Yeah.
so they kind of ignored us a little while until this check happened.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "We have to get the baby out, like, right now."
Yeah. Like,
So I had no time to even prepare for, "Hey, you're 9 centimeters,"
right.
or none of that. I went from arriving at 3 to getting the epidural, and I don't even know if they knew how far along I was
You
at
don't,
that
yeah.
point, and then being 10 and the baby's head coming out.
Wow.
So I think it was like 45 minutes later, she was born,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
couldn't feel anything.
What was pushing like, not being able to feel anything?
I didn't really know what I was doing. Again,
So they were kinda
this is a
telling
common
you.
theme.
Yeah.
I didn't take any birthing classes, but like I said, I'm very in tune with my body. And
Yeah.
being an athlete growing up, I was able to try to channel as much as I could, but because I couldn't feel
Right.
anything, that was definitely
Yeah.
difficult.
But I imagine just at some point muscle memory, like, since you're so in tune with your body, you know how to engage your core, engage different parts of your body. I have heard that muscle memory, even with an epidural, can kind of take over, and I wonder if that benefited you.
Yes, and once they told me, "Okay, what you're doing right now
Mhm.
is
The right thing?
progressing
Yeah.
the baby," then I could kind of get into that, even though I really wasn't able to didn't feel like I could control my body nearly like I normally do.
Yeah.
And then we got really productive, and she came out, and it was
Oh.
great. And I just remember I think I said something crazy like, like WTF. Like I was just like so in shock of this
This
baby is
just
here.
happened.
This
Yeah.
just happened. I had such a crazy last, 30 minutes before this or
Yeah.
whatever. But once I was able to really calm down, I couldn't believe that like that was my baby
Yeah.
and all this stuff that I was so afraid of came to this like beautiful head in this moment
Yeah.
and I was very emotional and so excited and my world truly did change in that moment.
Yeah. It's amazing. I Our worlds change, and, like, I also like to say that the whole world changes every time a baby is born because you never know who this person is going to be.
That's
Like,
so true.
isn't that wild to think
Yeah.
about? Like, yes, our world changes, exponentially, but who knows? It's just such a magical moment. It
Yeah.
is very emotional.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really, really special.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I wanna have more kids. I
I
can't
know.
believe this." And I think that's just part of
That
what
high.
yeah. It that was definitely there.
I mean, it's the most amazing accomplishment, it feels like.
It was
Yeah.
great. It's like our Super Bowl as
Yes.
women.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, and then they wheeled me into Waters Pavilion, which was absolutely amazing, and
You
I ate a
recommend?
waffle.
Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds
Yeah, it
awesome.
was really great. I've done Waters and just the regular,
Yeah.
and I really did love Waters, especially for my first experience, because again, I was very overwhelmed, just by it all, and so to be able to get food and, you know, that extra level of care was
Yes.
really, really
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
And did you have any sort of tears or anything?
I did. I had a second degree,
Not too bad.
and it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I think I was prepared for way worse after hearing my mom's story,
Mhm.
and, of course, you are not totally aware of what that's going to feel like and be like, and wearing diapers and seeing all
Yeah.
that comes out of your body. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
but it really was okay.
Yeah.
I think I was relieved actually. Just
Mhm.
I have this baby and I'm safe and the baby's safe and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And my recovery was really pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How quickly were you able to, like, get back to exercising?
I think it was at around 8 weeks,
That's
just the
awesome.
soonest that they could allow me to with that. I do think that I got like a UTI slash almost kidney infection
Oh
though
god.
from having the catheter
Oh, no.
like in and out a few different
Yeah.
times. So that was a little bit of a complication. But
Mhm.
other than that, I had a really great recovery and was able to get back into exercising and had to relearn our method. And
Yeah.
that's when I could use that postnatal fitness and feel it for myself
Yeah.
because as an instructor, not having children, you can read this stuff and study and
Mhm.
think that you understand,
Right.
but you truly don't because you haven't physically felt it.
Yeah.
And so that was such a cool experience to say, okay, now I get why it's important to have instructors on your team or leadership that have been through these phases of life
Right.
and know how to speak to our clients about them and know how to approach things. And, later in my other stories, there are some things that layered on top of that that
Mhm.
helped me be a better fitness professional and
Yeah.
be able to lead my team in a way where we can be more supportive of our community.
Yeah. Was it as humbling for you as it was for me to relearn your body post-pregnancy?
I think because I was so active,
Yeah.
it wasn't that
That's
bad. I
awesome.
say that now, I think in the moment, I mean, I really had a hard time losing the weight.
Mm.
I will say that.
Yeah.
I had a much easier time with my second baby.
I don't know about you, but even when I lost the weight, things still didn't look, the same. It just yeah.
Correct. Yes. And that is a huge transition.
Yeah.
Having scars and, everything is kind of moved around a little bit.
Yes.
That was a transition for
The
sure.
ribs are bigger, everything. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I think physically, it took me about 9 months to feel like I was really myself again. And most of that was actually probably more mentally
Mhm.
because I was having to transition into this new role as a mom, which we all have to do.
Yeah.
But then also, how does that work in my business? I only was able to take 4 weeks off. I didn't
Oh
really
my
have
gosh.
maternity leave that doesn't
Right.
really exist when you own a
Yeah.
business that is open every day. So I think it was a really big transition for me, and I had a harder time with my first baby with all of these things because it was all so new. And then with the second baby, there were other things that were hard,
Right.
but going from having the baby and the birth experience to postpartum and all the things, I felt so much more empowered the
Yeah.
second time.
I feel like that's a very common theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good transition.
Yeah.
You wanna talk about your second?
Yes. So I actually had a miscarriage between my first and my second baby. And we got pregnant with twins, which was the shock of a lifetime.
I imagine.
And things did not necessarily look totally how they should the first appointment. So this was very early on,
Mhm.
and they wanted me to come back about 10 days later. But they had everything on the ultrasound where they could see two sacs and two placentas and all the things. And my doctor actually felt like, okay, I think your conception date and all of that is maybe just off some. But I have always had such a regular cycle that
Yeah.
I kind of in my heart knew, I don't think that's probably the case.
Was she
So
thinking that they looked like they were measuring, like, smaller?
behind,
Okay, yeah.
yes, yep. But still, all the things were there, and you
Yeah.
could very clearly see, the beginning of two babies and all the things. And so when we went back for the next appointment, they had not progressed. But
Mhm.
my body very much thought that I was pregnant.
Mm.
I felt like I was pregnant with twins,
Mm.
very intense pregnancy
Mhm.
symptoms, extremely tired, and did not have any indication of a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So although this had probably been going on for a number of weeks,
Mhm.
I was at, 10 weeks or so, probably at this point that they finally sort of called it.
Mm.
My body had kind of stopped the growth of this
Mhm.
at around maybe 8 weeks or
Mm.
something.
Mhm.
So I ended up going in for DNC. It was a very emotional experience, obviously.
Yeah.
And going through that process was, in retrospect, such a good thing for me to experience. It's
Mm.
back to that idea of I now can relate to other people who have
Mhm.
gone through these types of situations. And I'm
Yeah.
also grateful that it happened when it did versus later,
Mm.
and not that either one is great, not that earlier is good, but it was one of those things where so many women go through this. And as someone in these communities of Atlanta and Dallas and just so many women
Right.
around me in my life, my, cousin has been through this and all these different people, you don't understand what to say to someone or how they're feeling until you go through it yourself. Again,
Mhm.
you think that you know, but you really don't know until you have those emotions. And the first trimester of pregnancy is so lonely in that you have this secret.
Mhm.
You don't really want to tell anyone. You don't really know how you feel about it, maybe even possibly. That's how
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, totally.
And then you have to keep waiting. And it's like this purgatory of, okay, we'll come back in 10 days. And how do you treat those 10 days and go about your life?
Mhm.
So that was just obviously a lot.
Mhm.
But I'm also grateful for the experience so that I can be supportive of other people in my
Mhm.
life
Yeah.
who go through these things.
I imagine it's very lonely because, like you said, with anyone in their first trimester, a lot of times people around you don't know.
Yes.
But then to go through this tragic event, and then how do you tell people, like, "Oh, I was pregnant, but now I'm not," and do you I imagine it's so hard.
Yeah. And then to start thinking about, okay, well, if it's twins and this does work, do we need to like get a bigger car? Do
Right.
we need to
All these
move to a
things are
bigger
spinning.
house? And you kind of get excited about it, even
Mhm.
though it seems overwhelming.
Yeah.
And there's just something weighty about the fact that it's 2,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
just all that you're feeling too
Yeah.
with double hormones. So, anyway, that was this, short period that we went through. And
Mhm.
after the DNC, I had the most wonderful doctor who was at our practice who did the operation, and he said it's actually the best time after your first period to start trying again
Oh, really?
because everything is sort of
Your
optimal.
body's receptive?
Yes, your body's receptive, your body is ready,
Wow.
and we really highly suggest in the first 2 to 3 months you try again, even though mentally and emotionally
Yeah.
it feels like a lot to dive back in.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was ready to just go forward with that and listen to
Mhm.
him. And
Mhm.
after you go through that and you start wondering, well, is there something wrong with me?
Mhm.
Then you want to give it your best shot.
Yeah.
So we actually got pregnant with our second daughter, Quinn, right after the
It's
with the
amazing.
the first time, and I was so happy because I did sort of think, well, maybe there's something wrong with me or
Mm.
us, or are we going to have to go down another route to have more children? It
Mhm.
was so easy the first time. Like, why was this? And you
Yeah.
start thinking a lot about what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
So to be able to get pregnant right away was amazing, and I was
Mhm.
so excited. And I do think because I had such crazy hormones with the pregnancy with the twins and then having one period and directly pregnant again,
Yeah.
that my body still was not maybe totally regulated in some ways. Maybe that's part of why you get pregnant easier,
Yeah.
if you will. And so I had a really tough pregnancy actually the entire time. There were
Mm.
numerous things that kind of occurred. One was that at my 8-week appointment, we had the confirmation. I was so excited to be able to see that everything was okay on
Yeah.
that one, and it was not 2.
Yeah.
I would have probably been happy with 2 as well, but just knowing that everything was okay. And then we actually did see that there was an umbilical cord cyst,
Oh,
which is a extremely rare
I've
situation,
never heard of that.
and it can go one of 2 ways. It's either gonna go away and it'll be completely fine and
Mhm.
nothing is wrong with the baby, or it can be a marker for a chromosomal or other type of defect in the baby.
Oh my goodness. You and your cysts.
I know. I know. It's
Oh,
like, and actually, now that you're saying that, I remember saying to my mom, it's just like, this is crazy.
yeah.
And so every pregnancy has, these things that have happened.
At what point do they like, is it obvious it's gonna be one or the other?
So there isn't necessarily an answer to
Mhm.
that. And so I was told by the doctor that I saw to just wait until the 12-week appointment and hopefully it'll be gone by then.
Oh my goodness. Just wait a month.
Yep,
Just let this little baby keep
more
growing.
waiting
Yeah.
after the waiting
Right.
of all of the other things.
Right.
And so much was also going on in my personal life with family health and crises that were going on.
Mhm.
So it was a really hard combination of events.
Mhm.
But once I shared this with my mom and my family, they actually kind of added a lot of stress to this, as you can probably imagine. They were not intentionally doing that,
Yeah.
but they were worried about their daughter
Yeah.
and worried about their grandchild. And in turn, it created a lot of stress for me, in addition to the
Mm.
fact that I basically could not eat for 14 weeks.
Oh
I
my
was
god.
so, so, so sick.
Did you have hyperemesis? Were you throwing up all the time or you just
I
couldn't
actually
eat?
never threw up, just extreme
Oh.
nausea. Food was like the most disgusting thing in the
Oh my
world,
god.
which is not the case for
That's supposed
me.
to be the fun part of pregnancy.
I know. And so I just felt terrible. And we ended up deciding for me to go see one of our family friends who specializes in this type of a thing. So I went to Charlotte. He was able to get me in, and usually you have to have a special referral for this.
Mhm.
And my doctor actually worked with me on it to get me an appointment with him, and he agreed to it. And so I think it was around like 9 or 10 weeks, we were able to have a very early anatomy scan
Okay.
to be able to see if he thought that there was anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I just wanted answers,
Yeah, of
honestly.
course.
And there were a few things that we could do to do some early genetic testing if we needed to.
Mhm.
But as a part of that appointment with him, he felt very clear that everything was okay.
Yeah.
We saw the cyst, it was very much there, and he understood why they were stressed
Mhm.
because it was a real situation. But he felt like, let's give it some time,
Mhm.
and we think everything's going to be okay. We can't give you 100% certainty because there could be a cleft palate or
Mhm.
a possibility of, a heart defect or some other
Mhm.
things, but from what he could see, there wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I think it was at the 12-week appointment, right around then, the cyst was gone.
Wow.
It just went away.
That's so crazy.
And when you have it go away, that just means that everything's like okay. It's when they stay
Yeah.
into second and third trimester that it generally is a indication that there is something wrong with the baby. So, a lot of stress
No
back to
kidding.
back. And
Yes.
then I continued to feel pretty terrible, like I said, until about 16 weeks. And I had like these crazy fainting spells where I had really low blood pressure. And if I didn't have like an electrolyte packet or two
Yeah.
every single day, then I would faint. I actually fainted at like the Miami airport when
Oh
we
my
traveled
god.
one day, and an
Ugh.
ambulance had to come. I mean, it was a
Yes, no kidding.
very dramatic pregnancy.
Oh my god, and that's scary because, like, fainting is scary in general, but, like, you don't wanna hit your belly or, like, hit
Yes,
your head or
especially after all these things.
Yes. Oh my
So it
gosh.
was it was just a really tough year. And I had Quinn, I think this whole process of the twins to having Quinn, our second little girl, was like 360 days.
Wow.
So for basically an entire year, I had total madness
Difficult. Yeah, a
and
difficult
a lot
pregnancy.
of crazy things going on in my personal life that were very sad and dark. And I'm not even just talking about myself, it was family matters that were going on.
Yeah.
And she was like this beautiful light at the end of the tunnel and started a new
Mm.
chapter for our family.
Mhm.
And even with her name, I didn't want to give her a family name. I didn't want to have any connection to her name because I truly needed for myself
Yeah.
and for our little family to start sort of a new leaf and a
A
new
fresh start.
chapter.
Yeah.
And I can tell you about her birth story.
Yes, I wanna hear it.
So like I said, I was just ready to have this baby. I was so ready to have some positivity. And so
Yeah.
at 39 weeks, we decided to move forward with an induction.
Mhm.
Part of that was due to the fact that we had a little girl at home and
Mhm.
my family isn't local, and just the planning around being able to know the day we were going to have this baby.
The logistics, yep.
Yes, yes. And I had such a great experience with, the comfort of the epidural the first time. I mean, it was like way too late and I got too numb.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, if we can control this
Right.
from the very beginning and come in with my hair blown out and, a little bit more calm of a
Yeah.
situation, this could be really great
I see
because
the appeal,
because
yes.
the birthing process of pushing and all that was pretty smooth with
Yeah,
Sloan. And I ended up having the most amazing birth.
that's
It
awesome.
was truly magical. I came in, we got settled.
Were you dilated at all?
I was like maybe two
Okay.
centimeters. And I told them, listen, today I do not want to be a hero. I want to try to enjoy
I
this.
love that.
And I've gone through a lot. So let's
Yeah.
just make it comfortable and get everyone here safely and meet this little girl.
I think that's amazing that you knew what you needed and wanted from that birth, and that's, like,
Yes.
the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really did need just a positive
Mhm.
experience at the end of this. And so I did. We did the Pitocin
So you didn't
and
have to do Cervidil or anything since you were already
nothing.
dilated? Yeah, okay.
No, and she just started progressing naturally pretty quickly.
Mm.
I felt nothing except amazing. I remember calling my mom after the epidural and saying, "I feel like I'm in Mexico on the beach drinking
That's
margaritas."
amazing. I want whatever you had.
It
That's
was
awesome.
real good, and I was, like, warm and toasty,
Oh, that's awesome.
December baby.
Oh. Do you remember how far along you were when you got the epidural?
I don't think I was very far along,
Yeah.
like 2 centimeters or
Okay, so it's
so.
pretty quick after the induction.
Yeah, and then the Pitocin just worked, like,
That's
my
great.
body got it and progressed, and I ended up having her I went in that morning, I think it was, like, a 7 a.m. check-in or
Mhm.
something. Maybe it was 6 a.m. I got hooked up to everything around I can't even really remember, but pretty soon after that because I said, like, I just wanna try to enjoy this as much as I can,
Yeah.
and then I ended up having her around 2 p.m.,
Wow. That's awesome.
and I could feel enough to feel the pressure,
Yeah.
and I said, "Either I need to go to the bathroom or the baby's coming,"
That's telltale sign.
and they're like, "The baby's right there.
Oh my
Are you
god.
ready?" And I was like, "I am ready this time."
That's
We didn't even
amazing.
have a playlist going at this
Yeah.
point, and my husband Chase turned on some music, and I think I pushed, like, maybe 2 times or
Oh
something,
my god, that's
and
incredible.
it was amazing.
That's
It was, like,
amazing.
the happiest, most emotional, exactly what we needed to heal our hearts or to
Yes.
start to healing our hearts,
Yes.
and she was a December 12th baby in 2024, and we had just this magical Christmas with this
Mm.
newborn, and it was just amazing.
I can, like, see it on your face. It's just,
Yeah,
like, pure
it
joy.
was so great.
Oh, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
redemptive and beautiful and just I'm so happy that you had that.
Yeah, and I just wanna say that sometimes inductions can be positive. You hear a
Yeah.
lot of stories where they're not, and that's valid too, and
Mhm.
this was my 2nd baby, but even my doctor said, "You need to make sure and tell people, like, how great your experience was," because I would have, like, 10 children. I mean, not actually, but it was just so great
Yeah.
that I hope that this next baby,
Yes.
due in June is I hope that we have the same experience because I want to relive that one more time.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Well, I feel like you're good at manifesting things for yourself, so I my money is on you.
Thank you. Thank
Oh.
you.
So with this 3rd baby, you mentioned that with every pregnancy, there's been something unique.
Yes.
What's going on?
This one, this was a surprise, which at the time, it was crazy timing. We had just started to reopen our Buckhead location
Mhm.
after a 3-month-long renovation and operating in a very strange way of our boutique, which is, if you've ever been there before, our front desk experience and our boutique is a huge part of our business.
Mhm.
And all of that was closed. So
Mhm.
you just came in and checked it on an iPad
Yeah.
and went into class. And it was a pretty, from my perspective, because I was managing the construction project, pretty hellish time. And it was very complicated in that they were doing a lot of things at one time, including some waterproofing that had some historical issues. And
Mm.
anything to do with waterproofing is just complicated.
Yeah.
So, without getting into details that are really boring around that, I had just been working my butt off and in this, again, sort of fight or flight mode of business. And I actually found out that I was pregnant the night before our grand opening event.
Wow.
And that was crazy because we were moving furniture and getting moved in the space and about to reopen. I had very little sleep at this time and was just trying to get the business
Yeah.
back and going because we had spent a lot of
Right.
money and
You're ready.
just ready.
That must have I think that was right around the time that I met you. So you must have found out you were pregnant, like, right after.
Yeah, I think so. And
Oh
I
my
I
gosh.
I didn't get pregnant that weekend when we were in New York, but it was shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So that surprise was like, "Really? Right now?" Like I just kind of am getting my life in order again.
Right. And Quinn was how old?
She was like 8 months
Okay, so
old.
yeah, still pretty little.
Yes,
Yeah.
pretty little, but I was also excited in that we thought that, like, maybe we'd wanna have another baby,
Yeah.
and in true Catherine fashion with all of these things, it's just better to push me off the cliff and say, "If you think that you want one,
Yeah.
let's go and do this because you're gonna overthink it." I'm
Yeah.
such a planner,
Yeah.
and not having a plan around this was just not me, but it was good for me.
Yeah.
What was crazy though was around the same time I started talking to a potential investor in my business. And I just thought, how am I going to possibly go through with this transaction if it works out being pregnant? And how am I going to break this news to them? I have to tell them. And, we ended up talking about that very early on. And I just said, if this is not going to work for you, like, I totally
Mhm.
understand. But,
What was your fear that they would think you wouldn't be, like, present or
well, the investment is and we actually just closed the other
I
day.
saw,
So
congratulations.
thank you. I'm very excited. It's been 10 years in the making, and it
Yeah,
has been my dream since the very beginning,
that's
over 12
awesome.
years ago,
That's amazing.
to have an investor come in. And, before we had been growing locations in other markets to get to this place
Yeah.
and had to close some. So I really had to backtrack, unfortunately, and then had 2 children, and it's
Yeah.
hard to grow locations when you're
It's
growing
hard to build a business when you're also
little
being a full-time
babies.
mom. Yep.
Yes, and so, long story short, my concern was just around the fact that this investment is to grow locations
Mhm.
and open new locations in both Atlanta and new markets. And I think that when you're an entrepreneur, so much falls on you. And that's
Yeah.
been my history in the past. This investor is going to be a true partner, and
Mm.
that it's not just me going and being at the construction sites and opening these locations all by myself,
Yeah.
which of course have had a team and amazing employees help me, but it ultimately always did fall on my
Yeah.
shoulders. And so I just thought, I don't know if this is going to be for them, considering that this investment is to grow into multiple new markets.
Mhm.
And having another baby just sort of complicates that.
Yeah.
And I just was realistic about that's kind of how it works, in this world. And as a woman in business,
Mhm.
it's one of those things that I think you're always concerned that your employees and other people are going to think that you're going to take a big step back.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was kind of all these little things happening at one time, but it felt so much bigger for me than just this happening. It felt like a series of events and God winks of, okay, you finally had this opportunity. You've gotten Buckhead up and running again. You created the model that is the model to move forward in this business.
Yeah.
And they loved what we did with the Buckhead renovation. And that's
Mhm.
kind of the new model.
Yeah.
And all this work that I had done in my business over the past year and even 10 years, was cumulative in this moment, in that let's have the baby. Let's, find this partner. And
Mhm.
now's the perfect time to have the baby and bring the partner because
Right.
you need one more than ever.
That's so true.
And by the time you have the baby, you can then start working on these new locations, and it actually completely does work.
And it's not all gonna be on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it just feels like it's all supposed to happen.
I
Yeah,
love
and it's a
that.
little boy.
I know, it's so fun.
Yeah.
I was saying this earlier, but I feel like older sisters and little brother is, like, the cutest dynamic, and
Yeah, well, if he's not sweet and does not treat women in his life very well, he will hear about it from multiple very spicy women.
I love that. He's gonna be an amazing guy, definitely a catch.
Yes, I think
Oh,
so too.
that's so exciting. Well, sounds like you have a very exciting year ahead, and it's gonna be wonderful. I just know
Thank
it. Are
you.
you gonna
Thank
plan
you.
another induction? Yeah?
Yes. Right now, because of
Oh, we didn't even talk about
we
what
didn't
was
even
going
talk
on.
about
Yeah.
yeah, I just got talking.
No, I love
I'm
it.
very chatty.
I love that.
With this pregnancy, I have at around 12 weeks, I had a pretty major bleed.
Mm,
And I thought that I was probably miscarrying because
mhm,
of just how significant it was.
mhm,
I was actually supposed to go into the doctor's office that day for my 12-week appointment, which I
mhm.
was so excited about it. And had to end up going in earlier. We did an ultrasound and the baby was completely fine.
Mm.
Completely fine. Didn't know what was going on. It was actually my placenta where it was attaching had a bleed
Oh,
and created a subchorionic hematoma. This is actually a fairly common situation, but mine was on the more serious side,
mhm,
and they can range in size from, 1 centimeter to larger, and mine was fairly large.
mm.
And so this was right around Thanksgiving. I basically got put on bed
Oh
rest,
my gosh.
couldn't make it to Thanksgiving, even up the road with my family that's pretty
Yeah.
close by. My doctor was very serious about just taking things easy and not lifting my kids, and that was
Mm.
super
Oh,
hard.
you still have, like, 2 little kids. It's
Yes.
so hard.
Yes. So my husband really had to step
I was
up.
gonna say that's hard on the partner too. Yeah.
Yes. So it was a tough period there, and we actually had this family trip planned to London, and I thought I
Yeah.
was going to have to call it off.
Yeah.
But things were stable enough to where they said, "You can go on your trip,
Mm.
just listen to your body."
Mhm.
And I did, and I tried to rest and all the things, but unfortunately, I still have this hematoma
Mm.
situation, and also where the hematoma and the placenta are attaching in relation to each other, and also the cervix. We're getting like really technical
No,
here,
I love it.
is a complicated situation.
Mm.
Any of them by themselves would not
Mhm.
be,
Mhm.
but it's the combination of them. And I do have a little bit of a previa
Placenta previa?
going
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
And that might move.
Okay.
I'm only like 22 weeks now. And so
And that's when your placenta's kinda covering your
a
cervix?
little bit. I
Yeah, a
have a
little bit?
partial.
Okay.
So, but that, because that's where the bleed was, the concern is if we have a bleed again,
Mhm.
that we could have a major situation.
Mhm.
And so I have not been able to work out
Mm.
at all during this pregnancy. And I didn't during my first trimester because that's kind of like the time that I allow myself to not
Yeah.
think about that kind of thing
Yes.
and just like allow myself to rest.
Yeah.
And I was very tired and I had a
Mhm.
lot going on with my business
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
reopening. But it's crazy. I'm 22 weeks and I have not worked out since September.
Wow, that must feel crazy for you.
It is. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. And with my second pregnancy, I was also very, very
Yeah.
active. And so it's just a different experience. But all of these combined, all of these experiences that I have had have been so good, again, for me to understand what women go through and the journey that people go through. And I've
Mhm.
been very fortunate to get pregnant easily and then have other things that have been difficult in there. So I definitely want to like recognize that because there are lots of different situations that happen to people.
Yeah.
But I can now be an advocate for my clients and
Mhm.
understand what it's like to go through pregnancy complications, loss, workout after loss,
Mhm.
new pregnancies, and now I can't work out.
Yeah.
And so when I do go back to working out, whether that's in a few weeks, maybe will get cleared, or it might be after this baby.
Yeah.
And I might have to start over, and it might have been, a very, very long time, and I have
Yeah.
to kind of retrain my body. And in a way, I think that that's happening for a reason
Mm.
because then I can experience that.
Right. It'll be like being a beginner, and then you'll understand
Yes.
what it's like for someone who comes into Sculpthouse for
Yes.
the first time.
Because we hear people all the time say, I haven't worked out in over a year. I've
Yeah.
had, 3 babies. I've had blah, blah, blah. And I kind of am like finding myself in that situation now.
Yeah.
That was not the case with the first two.
Right.
And now I am medically being told that I'm putting myself and the baby in a compromising
Yeah.
situation, and I'm having to listen to that. And so I'm having to shift my focus into other things
Mhm.
right now. And I'm putting a lot of my focus into my family
Mhm.
and finding peace in other ways. And then I've got a lot going on with work,
Yeah.
which is a blessing. I'm so glad that I do have so much going on with work because I can't really do a whole lot.
Well, your attitude is amazing. I'm so
Thank you.
impressed. You're just like a ray of sunshine. I feel like just motivated being around you to find the silver lining in everything.
Well, when I work out for the first few times after not working out for a very long time, I might not be so
I'll check in with you
positive.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check in with me then.
Or how about I'll come take a class with you because I have not worked out in like a
Yes,
year.
but I think, I will share what that experience is like and just
Yeah.
humbly share what I'm going through and what it's like, and that we all fall off for different reasons.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're forced to fall off.
You should totally journal it.
I
Or
think
like
I
like
will.
record the process. What's it like to get back into it as someone who has been, this has been my life and now I'm starting at square one again. Or maybe not square one, but
Might be. But yeah, no, I think I will. And during both of the pregnancies with the girls, I did try to share how I modified my workout,
yeah.
even down to exercises
Mhm.
on my stories. And those are
Yeah.
like saved in my highlights so that people know that you can change things up and like in real time what you're going through in your pregnancy.
Mhm.
This is how you would take this is how I approach my workout today at 25 weeks. And here was the workout routine on the Megaformer. Here's how I changed it.
Mhm.
Here's what I did on the treadmill.
Mhm.
And just providing a real example of how I felt that day, how I
Yeah.
approached that workout. And so I think I will do the same thing when I eventually at some point am able to work out again and get cleared.
I love that. And it's just so encouraging. And, I think it creates such a welcoming environment. I've worked out at other studios in Atlanta that when I've been pregnant and postpartum where I haven't necessarily felt
Yes.
encouraged or welcomed, or encouraged to modify or go at my own speed or pace. And so it's just great to see someone leading by example.
Well, I think that I had to, again, experience that to realize how important that was. And I'm not sure that we have always done a great job of that,
Mm.
but at least recognize that, and maybe we can influence the way that we're doing things differently as we continue on this journey. And I think that just being humbled in various different ways all these years, whether it's
Yeah.
closing businesses and understanding how hard that is,
Yeah.
or pregnancy, postpartum, all the different things have been so humbling for me and have really changed me as a person. And I'm learning every day as a business owner and a mom.
Yeah. Well, willingness to learn and change is the most important thing.
You're
So,
so right.
not getting it right or perfect the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The strongest people are able to change their minds about things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been such a wonderful conversation.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Thank
I know I
you.
talked a lot, so
No, I love it. But before you go, I always like to ask,
yeah.
can you describe birth in 3 words? Whatever it felt like for you.
Mm. Transformative, magical, maybe focused.
Mm.
I really actually enjoyed the experience of sort of the workout
Yeah.
of birth and just really getting into my body, even when I couldn't feel
Yeah.
things, and the focus that I was able to channel to try to safely get these babies into the earth.
I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Arrivals podcast. Until next time.